Let's get a
Hola, good morning.
luck one.
Oh man, what the heck?
There's no clean demand zone here on Nasdaq. Like there was no rally. There was this rally, so we get a demand zone here. We had this rally, it was a little choppy, but I mean I guess this demand zone right here. Oh, my stream. Yeah, I'm okay, okay. Uh,
I'm gonna butcher a name, but
not a fan. What is
um,
that?
we will sometimes do call outs on the broadcast depending on what we're seeing. Like we can call price targets on
Oh,
SPY all day long. That's pretty easy. Um, but we
somebody asking.
yeah, but we tend to mostly look at the price action itself. So like when we do kind of an analysis on something, we'll pick it off and be like, okay, well there's target one, target two, da da da. We can kind of call out zones and stuff like that. Um, Essentially, it's kind of drawing things with a crayon. So sometimes I can nail stuff to the penny, and that's something to be quite proud of sometimes. But other times you get this choppy kind of market, and you can have a hard time putting an exact number on things as they're working. So I tend to stay away from callouts as I can. I'd rather teach people how to find their own targets, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean I don't do them. Sometimes I'll be like, yeah, this is definitely going to hit here, or whatever. Pretty easy stuff. And when it comes to like measured moves, when you clock those things, man, they're real easy to find. You can pick off your price targets and then just trade appropriately. So yes and no, I guess I could say. Oftentimes I'm very picky about what I'll put out on social media too. So like if I see something that's a just a dead ringer for easy setup, I'll definitely put it on there and kind of pick up my price targets and set them out there. But other than that, I tend to kind of just be very careful about what I say because I don't like to lead people and say, hey, take this trade or something like that. That's just wrong.
Yeah.
you know?
Nobody's always right. So it's
Right.
like we don't want to tell you. And then if you guys catch one trade and it just so happens to be a trade that doesn't work out, you can be like, oh, screw these guys.
Right.
Everybody's got to come up with their own technical analysis. We're just here to sort of help guide you. We're the training wheels.
That's
You
right.
know, we've been where you were, where you are, where we've all started from square one at some point. And because we're sort of closer to square two, three, four, or point A, B, C, whatever you want to call it, we're able to help say, hey, listen, keep an eye on this instead. Keep an eye on higher lows. Look for this for trend. Look for supply demand. Look for ABC, double bottoms, one for
Right.
ones, VWAP, key levels,
All the
support
good stuff.
resistance.
Oh, hey,
Oh, yeah.
hammer time. I just realized that.
Oh, oh.
Hammer right on the 8 period. That's usually really nice. Let's see if it follows through. Stop.
I,
Hammer time.
hammer time. I'm telling you guys, I think NASDAQ wants that 4 hour supply zone.
I'll
Should
start getting
post
some
that.
lines set up here. So I'm looking to develop, and I'm going to talk to one of my programmer friends today or over the weekend maybe. I want to set up something that can do this automatically, where
What?
where it starts drawing the fan lines for you. And
Oh, okay.
if I can develop that
I'm
and
sure there is.
just call it the JFan, I'm sure there's a formula for it, but it's gotta be able to recognize accumulation and then pick off a split. So basically, it's got to be able to go to high and low, split them, and then run into. Oops, I didn't want to default that. Damn it. And be able to split them, and then have, as time goes on, run either the divergence where you can add splits, or just keep the thing moving, because you don't have to just continue adding on the divergence as time goes on. You can just reset them. So technically, if you see an accumulation anywhere and you're looking for ones, you can split the difference anytime you see an accumulation. So like you can just plot new lines everywhere you go. So I want to see if there's a way I can make it so it's automatic where you just click a zone and it'll do it for you.
AutoZone.
Get in
Yeah, you
zone.
could call it an AutoZone.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to have this really cool indicator on Thinkorswim, and it would auto plot trend lines and stuff and point out like channels and pre-market things I'd miss and it'd point it
Right.
out. It was really cool.
Very cool. Oh, I got a 30-second chart on. Let's get the 5-second on. There we go.
Oh yeah, it's way too big, bro. 30-second. What are you
I
doing?
know,
Trying to
man.
confuse
It's
everybody?
just too damn long. So like I'm going to
Man,
try and demonstrate how that would work today with the fan line. So like here you can see they converge like in nowhere. So like if you were to click start an indicator here and have it draw fans on you, it wouldn't draw to the points you need to see. So like it wouldn't line this up here. So on the 30-second chart, this was a wick. So you can see here that was a wick right there. So it just goes, and anytime you see where there's accumulation, you can run these trend lines down and be like, okay, well, I want to find the most significant nearest low and the most significant nearest high and draw an extension line.
yeah.
So to automate that, to start from a 0 point that can be hanging in outer space here, be a little challenging. Because usually it's
Yeah.
got to start with a candle somewhere. So like here's your 2-for-1 set right there, because we got such divergence, is this such a steep rise here on the angular resistance, that we had a short zone here where you got the one leg here, the second leg was here, this is the third leg, and now we're running for
Jeremy, you mind popping me on the YouTube for a second? I just want to show what I would look for this type of trade.
yeah, let me get you set up. Hold on 1 second.
Thank you. Yeah, just like a quick second. I'm just doing a quick supply and demand example and what I would look for things to line up and whatnot.
Sure thing, boss. Let's see here.
Oh yeah.
The plane, the plane.
Look at this
Alright.
pump.
All right. I have a way to do that. There you go. You're on.
Thank you, sir.
Anytime.
Alright, so real quick, what I was looking for is obviously we're pumping. At this point, right here on ESN and Q, we were selling off really hard. Everybody was short. This was just like a day or two ago. Everybody's short, everybody's short. Then we got this big pop yesterday because of NVIDIA, and we're going higher. And now at this point, NASDAQ is creating new year-to-date highs with a 4-hour supply coming up over here. Now, we haven't been to these levels since the last April. It's been almost a year, but that doesn't mean the liquidity is not here anymore. The liquidity is still in this zone. There's still stops, there's still orders sitting in there. So what I would look for on this trade is for NASDAQ to either, maybe because it's closer than ES is to its supply, maybe double top inside supply, or create a lower high inside supply and go lower. And I'll be looking for the same type of thing on ES as well. Let's see if we have a better, you see how the green goes down a bit more? I want to get the supply zone down there. Let's see.
I suppose I could
No?
start it with any
Alright.
candle, but then it's got to be able to know where.
Yeah, you know what it is? I would prefer when I do my basing, I'd rather the candle look more like this candle
Right.
than this candle. But this is still a basing with a wick on top before it drops, so it's still a valid supply zone. I was just looking for something a little prettier, a little nicer.
A little more petite. Got a
It'll
potential
work.
double bottom
Yes.
here on Intel Corp. I want to see if this plays out and starts to break R1. Not much of a trend behind it unless you look further left where we've got this. So did have a double bottom yesterday that played out pretty nice. Went to target 1 after hours. For some reason, this is erroneous. I don't think that was possible. But if you call it a John Wick, maybe. So that could be setting up for target today. But at any rate, had a double bottom yesterday. It played out nice. Now we're looking for a shorter term double bottom right now. And we just saw one. There it is on the 1 minute chart. This is the Wu-Tang, where it's got the kind of weird start. The the thing about the Wu-Tang is either you get a lower low after L1 or a higher low after L1. Here we have a higher low after L1, so we'll see what shakes out of this thing.
Thing about the Wu-Tang is if you want beef, then bring the ruckus, because
Yeah.
Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to mess with.
If you're fishing for beef, bring your tackle box. Or we handle beef down to the bone marrow. Sorry.
All right, so some major divergence I'm looking at is that obviously from point A to point B on Nasdaq and ES, we're very, very divergent. I mean, from this point up here, 4218, to where we are right here. And now, if we start at the same time on the same candle on Nasdaq, we're all the way up here. Now, this is the obvious divergence I look for. Does that mean it's going to stop right this second? Absolutely not. But what this will tell me is, okay, the divergence is forming. That's confirmation 1. Now let's get into supply on ES. That'll be confirmation 2. Now let's get into supply on NASDAQ. Confirmation 3. Now I'm looking at 3 confirmations. I'm looking at my supply zone I'll look to enter on ES. So I have my entry. I have my stop is going to be right above where the supply zones are, because if we break it, it's invalid. So it's about a 5 to 8 stop, and the target's going to be 41.68. So risk reward wise on this short position, let's say we get in the very bottom, which realistically the goal is to sort of try to get in closer over here, but that's alright. So we move our stop as we go. Risk reward wise, we're looking at 4.7, so it's almost a 5 to 1 risk reward. That's a good trade. These are trades, again, that you could lose more than win, but still be a profitable trader. And that's like, so that's magic right there. You know, if you ask me, it's like, what? I could win 30% and still make money? Okay, deal. It's just about patience and high quality trades.
That's
And
the
risk
way.
reward.
It's funny because
I'm gonna
and
keep this here.
I was talking to Jamie about this because this is actually true. You could put 3 different traders together with 3 different strategies on the same equity. One of them could short the equity, one of them could long the equity, and the other one could be neutral the equity. And yet, all 3 of them make money. But if they switch seats, you switch 2 of them, they would lose each other money.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting, and it just drives home the concept of it's not about what you trade; it's about how you trade it.
Right, right. All right, so I'm looking for 2 guys on VIX. For us to go higher and to hit that supply, we're gonna have to go below this key level. So I'm gonna look for this support to hold. So as we look to the left over here, this is a good market context thing. I just saw a little video on this. So we're ranging. We have this top range for yellow band, bottom range for yellow band, and then the middle range for these blue bands. And a lot of times it will break out of the yellow, come back and retest one of the blues, and then go back out. So that's what I'm going to be looking for. Now that's 4 confirmations, because now I'm throwing VIX in the circle. So I'm going to be looking for a short and ES supply, NQ supply, VIX rejecting previous channel area, previous support resistance. And so supply, VIX, 1, 2, 3, and divergence is 4. Four confirmations. And again, once the trade does start getting near there, I'm going to look for things on the 5-minute on VIX, maybe a double top, or if VIX is failing to go lower, that'll be another 4th or 5th confirmation. That's just to enter. These are confirmations I'm looking for now to find me the trade. Then with these confirmations, I use new confirmations to enter the trade. Because if we are pumping, right, and we're pumping right into supply with no sign of weakness, I'm not just going to blindly enter, because then I'm just shorting a pumping stock. I'm not doing that. Plus the NQ zone is pretty wide, so I wouldn't be surprised if we did get in it and get to like the 14,200 level.
Sorry about
Oh,
that.
what happened?
Oh, I accidentally put the wrong screen up. It's all good. Go ahead.
No, you're good. But that's about it. Just multiple confirmations, having your supply and demand, being able to measure it, risk reward. It's a different trading style from Jeremy. Jeremy does his 5 second, 1 seconds, and 15 seconds. This is more of a day trading scenario. This is a hold for maybe an hour or two, depending on how strong the stock is doing. Sometimes, as you guys have all seen before, I'm sure, we get dumps that are a lot stronger than our pumps, so we might see a quick rejection when we short. It all depends, and that again is what these strong key levels and supply and demand do for us, is because these are formed because the institutional buyers made the market move. They literally made the market move. They were filling up all their shorts here, and because of the strength of the selling, it was able to push the market lower, which they again filled at this area of interest, pushing the market lower. So this zone accounted for even just this move, 32 points. The whole move, 73 points. So to be looking at this trade and want, let's see, 22 points, that's reasonable. I'm targeting an area of interest. I'm targeting what could also be a potential demand zone if this 1 hour forms and closes here. The next 1 hour opens and we get that 10 or 12 point move to supply, then this would be a valid demand zone because we would have the red basing followed by two pumping candles. Same with NASDAQ. NASDAQ's a bit cleaner. So this is something I would watch as a target to short. Again, I would be entering the short around here, stop above the supply, and target at this area of interest or a demand zone. Sometimes VWAP is a good target, sometimes not so much. It all depends on market context. Let's see where VWAP is right now. Okay, so look at that. VWAP's already sort of starting to line up with the area of interest. I love when that happens because what that tells me is this area of interest is just that much stronger. Again, another thing to add on. Now we're talking confirmations for our target. It's so good to be able to dissect the market and dissect the zones and areas and use it to your benefit, and to just take the clues the market says. It's not that hard. You guys could learn it. I know you guys can. You got some good teachers with me and Jeremy. We're gonna make some good videos for you guys. I mean, here's NASDAQ is pushing higher, coming up to supply. Another thing I like to look for is how the equities are doing. Because if equities, like let's say Tesla, this was a daily supply, but it was broken, so I should technically be deleting this zone. But because I don't really trade options or equities too much, I'm going to use this as a red area of interest that if we fail out of, I'll be looking for Microsoft to continue lower, Apple to continue lower. Apple has a potential rally-based rally right here on the 5 minute. We had 3 rally candles, a basing with a rejection, and if we do continue higher, this would be a rally-based rally. Maybe targeting 175. That would be a nice little
Yeah.
50-cent move. Stop below over here.
I just missed the bearish 1-for-1, but I just see it now. 5 minutes looking like a evening star. Go on, though. Sorry.
No problem, no problem. Another thing I wanted to note was I was just looking at the social media post thing, and I was looking at Jeremy's supply and demand and pivots, and I'm pretty sure, Jeremy, when you're marking your supply and demand, you only mark the wicks, right?
Yeah, I usually just shadow the wicks and take them to the right.
Okay.
It's kind of an odd concept,
That's
and
another way too. No, that is another way though. That's
yeah,
a good way to find liquidity because that's literally where people got trapped. The wick is the trap, guys.
exactly.
Remember it like that. If
Yeah,
you see a big wick, they're trapped.
it's just like I can plot those on a 5 minute chart because my focus is going to be scalping the shorter time frames. So when I see those, I'll mark them out and realize there's liquidity there. When you see a wick, it's because a whole bunch of limit orders traded hands, like
Oh,
limit sells and limit buys were literally flipping, or limit sells and limit short sells would sometimes be in tandem in there. So if you look at where your order flow is, you could see that there's limit orders sitting on the depth of market right in those areas. And when you see them there, you can preemptively plot where a liquidity zone should be ahead of time But it's easier to just look at it historically because you know that price will tend to wander between the supply and demand zones, and then usually it'll find a central pivot somewhere as well. So, that 50% retracement that we're always drilling into your heads is exactly what you're seeing there. The 50% retracement is the pivot in the middle between supply and demand. So whenever you see a 50% retracement price reaction with accumulation and it runs back up to liquidity, or down to liquidity, just know that that's an ability to trade a 50% retracement very accurately.
Let's see what's relatively strong today, guys, stock-wise.
I keep waffling on whether this is going to go up or down on this channel here, but it's just kind of crawling. But I think we're going to get the upward movement here.
Amazon's relatively stronger. Nice. Yep,
boxes there.
Amazon. Look at that. Amazon, guys, gave us that rally, base and rally. Now let's see if Apple could do that as well. If this basing, if we're going to have a rally after.
We just
How to
pricked
play
up
that
fine
at
with the
this
hammer.
point is
Nope.
you put your stop below this wick.
No evening star here. This is a pennant now. We're looking bullish.
That's cool. Amazon at 117. Been a while since I really looked at equities. Amazon, back when I was trading equities, Amazon was near like 100. It was struggling around like 110.
Yeah. I started fiddling with the 5-second fan on Tesla here because it's just volatile enough to use the fan. That's the one thing is you need to have some volatility to use the fan effectively. Although if you don't have enough volatility, you can still trade it with just switching candle style. You can go to an HA candle if all you see is little blips on the regular candles. But you can still draw the same fans you would on SPY with equities if they're volatile enough. So like you can do this with all the big ones like Amazon, Google, Tesla, and occasionally AMD. But effectively, it becomes a little bit of an issue when you're trying to run a 5-second fan on things like that, and you're not looking at least once in a while to the 1 and 5 minute chart to see what the effective setup is. So here we have a quick bullish 1-for-1 on Tesla set up, but it's not quite going to follow through because there's strong resistance we know of at 189. Oh, I'm not even showing my screen.
Let's see what VIX is VIX is doing. Oh yeah, you want to switch? You want to take back over the charts?
Yeah, got it.
Cool beans.
Speaking to Discord, but
No, are those your kids?
All right.
Sorry, I was looking at the YouTube.
All good. Oh yeah,
In the background.
That's what I was trying to do when I
wallpaper.
accidentally put up the wrong screen. Is I was trying to get the YouTube block down so I could, monitor comments and stuff.
Cool. Yeah, comments are a little quiet today.
Yeah. Ain't no thing. It's kind of one of those days.
Yeah, once we get more videos up too, like once you start making videos and I start making the reels and stuff, it'll be smoother because then those drive in more traffic.
Mm-hmm.
It's too hot in this tent for me.
Bro, I bet. Are you trading and charting?
Miserable. Yeah, I'm trying to do stuff, but it's like the AC is not working that well, and I feel like I'm dying in this tent.
Oh no.
Jesus. What you still got your setup that you sent a week or two ago? Does that run
Yeah,
okay?
but I have to keep on checking my laptop because like I touched it and I felt like I could cook an egg on it.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Because you got 2 extra monitors on it, don't you?
Yep.
Oh, jeez. My laptop was barely able to run the one without a problem. But I guess what do you got? What kind of laptop you got?
It's a gaming laptop. I got it for
Oh, there you
gaming,
go.
but I haven't really been playing many games lately.
Trading's a game. If you do it right.
Yeah, it's a video game that pays dividends.
Yeah. Pays dividends and hopefully salary.
Yes.
Do you mind sending a screenshot? Not like a picture of like your whole setup, but like a screenshot of the screen. I want to see how you have your chart set up and stuff. I'm curious.
Boom, 1-for-1 done on Tesla.
Everybody
Now for a
too,
pullback.
really. I mean,
Me?
Nicole. Yeah, you. Yeah, you.
I gotta go. I gotta go to a quick meeting really fast, and I'll do it when I get back.
All right, sounds good. Cliff, what's
It's
going on?
gross.
You too?
Yeah, I'm under a gun on a project here, so I'm just
Ah.
listening in the background.
All right. Yeah, it's one of those days, I guess.
So that Wu-Tang on Intel Corp here kind of just printed a stack of dojis and hammers. It's wandering. It just broke R1, came up, tackled a little bit of a breakout, and then all of a sudden some sellers came in. What we can get from this, though, is going to be
Fake.
a liquidity zone, and there's two of them. You can see them
Watch out,
plain as day.
everyone. Watch out, everyone. It's a fake.
Yep.
Yo, Jeremy, did you see Sig losing his mind because I asked him to be in this one meeting?
Losing his mind.
Not losing his mind, but like he read me the riot act about how
Oh.
there should only be one person doing a meeting, and like 3 times.
Yeah, I see his side of it and our side of it because
No, I absolutely see a side of it, but it was because Lucian asked him to be in on it, and this is the
course.
first meeting we're asking him to be in on, and he's making a problem of it, and then he's like, "Oh, but if you need anything, ask me, I'll help." Like, no, I asked you once, and you're complaining.
nah.
Yo, I
It's-
told you guys that was a fake out. We're gonna see that supply.
It's like herding cats sometimes. So like when you're trying to coordinate 3 schedules, like your own, whoever you're trying to talk to, and then someone you're trying to add to a meeting, it's incredibly difficult. So I get it.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness,
that
guys!
rip,
Look
guys.
at this. Look
So-
at, oh my money, shmoney. All right, we're at supply to a T, to a tick, on Nasdaq. There's that.
But like when you have a one-on-one where you just make initial contact and setting things up, then it's easy because you pick a time that works best for both of you and you're on. But when you're trying to coordinate a
Yeah.
third or fourth person in there, it's like, oh no, everybody's schedule's different, this and that. And it's like, well, it's like herding cats. So I see both sides of it, but
No,
essentially,
I'm not saying he's got it wrong. I'm not saying he's
no.
wrong. I'm just saying shut the front door about it a little bit. Like, you said your point. You said it's a little difficult to schedule 2 people in a meeting, and that's it. That's it. I don't need all of this. I don't.
he's a very say it like it is kind of guy. He doesn't hold anything
No,
back.
there's a
No
difference.
filter.
I'm gonna say it how it is. He's a keep saying because he's a talker. So
Yeah,
it's all right.
sure.
Whatever. We're on live.
Okay, so here's our double bottom
Shake it
play out.
off, shake it off.
That's it.
That's
Just
it.
roll with it. So I
Yep,
got
MQ
the
supply.
got
Yes,
the
right
Wu-Tang,
off
and
of
guess
that.
what else we got out of this? So we have the liquidity established here. There's your buyers. This is your demand zone. This is your supply zone. Supply zone just got eaten up by a massive bar.
Taking a
So-
short.
What else do we see on this? Pretty simple. You just grab the box, draw the box. Oh, look, measured move setup. So a target for Intel Corporation currently 2780 on this particular move. And we'll see if it continues on from there. Double bottoms are not always perfect. They're not like, just actually 2 equal lows and then one high for, the resistance point. Sometimes they can be skewed, and oftentimes when they are, they actually have a little bit higher probability of running. So like, you made a low here and a higher low here, chances are it's going to trend on up. And here we had it kind of print up doji party before it finally broke R1. And then look, we got R1 with a doji, and then all of a sudden bar ripped beyond target one. So now we're running measured move, base to center and center up. Well, there's a liquidity zone here too that just basically evaporated. I mean, they just pushed right through it with a full bar. So that shows you strength. Well, look left. What do we know for control zones? Well, here's a control bar from yesterday. That gives us a target all the way up here to about 2830. So you get a 2-for-1 measured move out of that. Kind of neat how you can combine a bunch of different time frames to figure out where your short-term targets really are. Because trying to plot exactly when this bar was going to come in, that's damn near impossible. You knew there was a liquidity zone there because you saw a failed breakout with the wick on the 5-minute chart right here. Doesn't always mean it's going to stop there.
You mind throwing me up on the YouTube real quick? I just want to show how we
Yeah.
rejected the supply demand zone.
Let's flip it.
Well, the
Good morning,
supply zone.
everyone.
Oh my god, perfect. Good morning.
You're up. Morning.
Thank you.
Ryan, you said
Guys,
hi this
real
morning and then you cut out.
I don't know what's going on with my laptop, Jeremy. When
Ah,
I try to speak, it seems to be like there is a sound problem. So what I do is turn off the laptop, turn it on, then
I gotcha.
I can connect, but I don't know why that happened. Even I listen to SIG in the morning, so I don't know.
Sometimes it's just a, you get a update on a sound card firmware or something like that. It'll do weird stuff like that.
It's only happened with Discord. This is Apple laptop, Mac Pro, but I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to waste your time. I have a quick question, please, Jeremy.
Sure.
When I asked Kevin, I would like to thank him for that advice regarding pre and post market, not to count it when you're treating equity.
Mhm.
And I noticed that I can have supply and demand maybe more accurate like I used to. But I see you using it and you rely on it in your trading. So it's only like maybe 5-10 minutes short time, or what you looking for, because it bothered me. I'm sorry to say that.
So I'm always looking for supply and demand on pretty much every time frame. Oftentimes you'll see me plot them out on a 5-second chart as well. Anytime I realize that there's a barrier there, or there's like buyers waiting here or sellers waiting there, I want to know about it. And when you have something like this happen with the Intel here, where we got a bar straight through it, just didn't even hesitate to crush that liquidity zone. You kind of wonder, well, what am I missing here? So you start to look left. There's other zones. I mean, you can find these supply-demand zones on it just about every time frame. In fact, if we really wanted to see one, we could see this little wick right here would represent a little bit of a liquidity zone, even though it was in the pre-market yesterday. So you can have a much easier time finding them during active market or open hours of market, and ignoring the pre-market and after hours. But don't ignore them. You can certainly realize that there is some liquidity there. So if I was to mark a target on this, I would say that this control bar would be a little bit more relevant. Another thing, and we kind of used to drill this in with penny stocks, is whenever you spot a control bar, you'll mark the high and the low on the thing, sure, but you always want to mark about halfway. And you find a 50% retracement of that bar is much more likely first, then accumulation, and then a follow through. Well, where does that go? There's your liquidity zone right in the pre-market right there. Lines up with half that bar. So you can kind of pick and choose where you want to find it. And it doesn't necessarily mean price is going to stop here and run there. It just means that you're looking for a possible change of hands there. So you're looking for whether or not there's going to be enough volatility to push through it, or you're looking at that being a resistance point. So the candles leading up to that liquidity zone are typically going to be your clues. So let me go back to a 1-minute chart here. So we knew where that zone was. We marked it right here. Was there any indication that this was going to blow through there? Well, maybe not on a 1-minute chart, but I bet we could find it on a 5-second chart. Let me plot the time here. So that was 10:01.
All right, guys, remember, just because we rejected the top of the supply, or the bottom top, however you would view this, we're coming back to it. Doesn't mean to fake out. We have our stop. If you entered right at there, you're supposed to have your stop up here. That's why it's important to try to let it get into the supply zone. So when we enter, our stop is as minimal as possible.
Oh, yeah.
Or what we could do is wait for us to get a clear trend change out of supply, come down, then come back up and create a lower high outside of supply after rejecting it. That will be our trend change on the 5-minute. Then you could take it short, say it's over here at 41.87, then you could take it short there and put your stop at the start of supply. Instead of all the way up here, you could enter here, put your stop there, because you waited for the confirmation of the higher low off of supply, and this is the type of trade that you would be patient and it would pay. Patience pays, PAY chintz.
Yes, sir. So just to follow the rest of what we see on Intel here, this is essentially that 1001 candle here. And you can see on the 5-second chart, it went right to
There
the
we go.
liquidity zone right there. It did accumulate a couple of 5-second bars and then just blasted through it, right? Well, if you look at what you see a leg, an accumulation, and a leg. That's a full-on measured move. Real easy to spot on a 5-second chart. But you know, if you're trying to focus on any particular time frame, you almost have to figure out what you're seeing on all the time frames that you're going to be trading. So it's only going to be relevant if you can pick your signals. Well, how would you know this was going to be a measured move? Would you be able to get in on top of that bar? Well, yeah, you can on a 5-second chart, but are you trading a 5-second chart with an equity? Not likely. But you can still monitor it. So like I could go and have a 5-second Intel chart here, and I can go and run you know, 1 minute down here. And I can kind of compare the two. Well, I know where the measured move was. I know where the base on that double bottom was, and I figured this measured move out. But we also know about the 5-minute liquidity here, and that was that 1001 bar. So effectively, we can use as many time frames as we want to verify a move, but finding the trade is going to be the important part. So where was the trade on the 5-minute chart? You didn't really see one other than you know there's liquidity here. Sure, you could have gotten long in this minutia here and been just fine, but how would you know to keep the position on after it you know, attempted to break this liquidity zone? Most people would have taken profit right after this bar, and they did. There's a red bar there. So effectively, trying to find short-term liquidity zones can be kind of a shoot sometimes. You kind of need a better confirmation of trade signals, and it will always depend on the time frame you're trading.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Yeah, no problem.
I would like to ask us another question, but I know this is a power hour and I'm very busy.
Oh,
So,
stop. Get your question out. That's okay.
Yeah,
We
man.
always got time for questions. That's what we're here for.
Let's rock
all
it.
right. Very briefly, I'm still confused which bar I use. I use it, especially the big bar, like the nearest one or the farthest one, because usually Jeremy say look left, and I see many different big bars. So kind of like which one I should use.
Well, it's not necessarily trading exactly signals of big bars. It's knowing where the liquidity zones are on each side of that bar. And typically, when I'm looking for control bars, I can find them on a 5-second chart. If I'm scalping a 5-second chart, it's pretty easy. But if you're looking for swing trades, or you're looking to hold something a little longer than that, or make a day trade out of it where you hold it for an hour or more, you're going to want to look at longer time frames. So you're going to look for, where's the meat and potatoes in this move? Well, here's a 2-hour chart on Tesla. You can find range on this entire bar here, and I have it marked more or less with the green pivot here and the white pivot here. Bring that to the right. Well, where was the trade? Right here, across the line, went that entire range, and actually went further. But effectively, you could make that trade just looking left on that time frame if you were going to trade that time frame. So realistically, it can be any bar as long as you're aware of what else is there. So can you make a trade on an even longer term bar? Sure. We could pull up a 4-hour chart and probably find that entire range was in one bar from here to here. And you can see that support was down here between the two. Well, looking left, knowing where that bar is, it was pretty easy to spot measured moves over and over and over again on Tesla, right? So I can mark it with marking the control bar, or I can mark it with boxes. And what the boxes do is it just finds the move that I'm going to look to trade. But if you look at the way they correlate with control bars, you could do either or both. I mean, it's really going to be up to you at that point.
So for scalping like daily trade, Jeremy, the best time you guessing is the 2 hours. Go by the 2 hours.
If you're going to do, a day trade, and you're looking to be trading a little longer than a 5-second chart or a 1-minute chart, yeah, the 2 hour is going to give you your best control bars. And you can kind of learn that from experience on penny stocks too. Like anytime, if you look at the past videos when I was streaming in the penny room, you realize that that's pretty much all I did. I would look left on a 2 hour chart, spot my control zones, I'd mark a bunch of pivots out, and those would become price targets on a bullish trend. So you can see I'm still doing that even with things like Tesla. I've got tons and tons of pivots here, and effectively they're just price targets that are related to control bars in the past. So I can go and look, far enough left, even look at a daily chart and pick candles off where there's control areas, right? And after a while, you'll realize that they start to correlate. So you'll find control areas on a daily chart that are the same as control areas on a 2 hour chart, that are the same as control areas on a 15-minute chart, 30-minute chart, whatever. You'll find them. You'll notice that there's always going to be other bars in those ranges. Like here we have one on a 2 hour chart right here. It's pretty clean. You can go into the 30-minute chart and find range bars in those. So you go, let's see if I can find one. Well, there's one here, but it's not exact. But the thing is, like, you can plot it on any time, and it's going to be dependent on how long you want to be in the trade. So if you're looking at a 2 hour bar and you want to trade a 2 hour bar, well, you're going to be willing to be in there for a 2 hour trade. If you want to split that bar and run a 1 hour trade, sure, you can run a 50% of that bar and be in a 1 hour trade. If you're scalping a 5-minute chart, ideally you're going to look for probably a 15-minute or 30-minute bar to trade, because you're going to be able to split it in increments. I hope that makes enough sense. It was a lot of words about.
The good thing the videos are recorded.
Right.
You could go back. No, but that's good. You explained it well.
Thank you very much, Jeremy. It's helpful. It's
No
just
problem.
it need a lot of practice. But for me, penny stock is very risky,
It
and
is.
I lost a lot. I mean, not a I don't know. For me, it's like not stable. I rather trade like Ford or any company, less volatile than penny stocks. But you need to know the supply and demand, like Kevin said and you said. I mean, I I felt like that's the key if you want to have a successful trading, knowing the supply and demand.
Right.
First of all.
Absolutely.
So I do appreciate everything from both of you. It's really great. I find it makes a lot of difference. It's just you need to be patient. That's the key issue.
Absolutely. And just kind of a look back on the reason I even still talk about penny stocks is, and I call it learning price action the hard way, because it's very difficult to scalp a penny stock because they're always volatile. They're very hard to predict. But the better you get at that, the easier your large cap trades are going to be. So the only problem is, like, if you, and you said the key function there was, you trade penny stocks, you lose a lot of money. Yeah, you're learning the hard way. The problem there is you're going to have to focus your ability to manage risk as well. If you're going to practice penny stocks, I'll say, if you want to practice price action and learn it the hard way, go scalp a penny stock, but don't take a bunch of size into it. Don't trade 10,000 shares of a dollar stock. That's just kind of foolish. Trade just a couple. You want to get used to the process of analyzing price action and being able to predict when it's going to become unpredictable. So you want to be out of that trade when you lose connection with, can I plot these moves? So when it comes down to learning the price action with it, you trade a 1 or 2 shares of a dollar stock. It's not going to cost you much if you fail, but you're going to learn really quickly that sometimes there's certain price action where you can't quite gauge exactly where it's going to go, and it's best to just sit on your hands at that point. But if you can pick something off where it's an obvious move or an obvious setup, trade it. Practice that, because that's where you're going to learn that process.
Guys, something. You wait. Are you done? I'm sorry. I don't want
Yep.
to interrupt.
Oop, that's it.
All right. Real quick. Obviously, entering here now for a short would give you a better risk reward, because then your stop is closer. Is only 3 points now. But just because it's a better risk reward doesn't mean it's a good trade, because you're still counter trend trading at this point. Just because it's in supply doesn't mean it's the right thing to do immediately. Maybe look for a rejection right over here where the supplies are sort of lapping along with NQ weakness, but this is also again why we don't jump the gun and just go short immediately. This is why we wait for that higher low. The stock market will always give you a second entry on a move down, especially if you're just trading the 5 minute. This is a very small time frame, guys. If we're charting on the 1 hour, the 2 hour, the 3 hour, I mean, then we should want to be in these moves for 1 hour, 2 hours. Why we shouldn't expect to get all of this or to get a big move on a 5 minute candle if that's what it's doing on the larger time frame.
Right.
Another thing I mentioned this morning was how if we ended up rallying on the second 1 hour candle, that's going to make this basin candle into a demand zone on ES and NQ, and that's exactly what it did. It rallied us right into supply. So with that being said, now it sort of makes it tough, even harder to want to short up here. But I mean, we would really need this 1 hour to close to really validate the decision of short or long. So at that point, I would wait for a 30-minute or a 1 hour. And let's see real quick, 30-minute, right. So I would wait for a 30-minute to close, but this one's going to close in 10 minutes. And it's all the way up here right now. So unless we reject and we go all the way below over here in the next 9 minutes, I wouldn't touch this thing short at all. Could you short right up here, seeing that we're at the top of supply, and you could just put your stop at the top of supply? Yeah, sure, absolutely. You have a little 1 point stop. That's definitely maximizing the risk reward on the supply zone.
Hey, we just
Again, the
made
only
the 2
thing
for 1.
is it's counter trend trading. But I mean, I guess that would be a really good entry because then your stop is literally like 5 ticks away. And you could sort of go heavy-ish, and as long as you have a set stop in place, and it'll stop you, it'll just stop you at that 1 point stop, and that's no problem. Then you could sort of ride it. But it's just too green for me to be like, oh yeah, let me short this now. You know?
That 418
It's,
measured move was perfect. Now we're above it.
nice.
Like I was saying in the pre-market this morning, I think we're set up for a trend day today where we had a 1-for-1 to 418, and that's just based on yesterday's price action plus today's price action. And continuation can take us on a trend all the way to 420. That's where the angular resistance is on the split for the diamond patterns upper or rising channel. So we opened at regression and we crossed the key pivot here, the 416.50, and since we built momentum, we hit the 1-for-1 418, and the angular resistance that splits that channel is 420. There it is there.
Morning, guys.
Morning.
Hey, morning, Ricardo. What's going on?
Nothing, man. How are you guys doing?
Better by the minute.
Chilling. Yup.
Making
Look
bike
at
today.
this.
Sorry.
That's crazy.
Uncle Elon's paying my bills lately, and I'm just thrilled. So
Uncle Elon.
I wanted to give a quick rundown of the box, and it really is just the simplest thing. Your only real target goal of using a box is to exactly do what Kevin just explained with looking for the control areas and trading one control area for another. You can find that particular move by just drawing a box, because if you look at a trend where there's many candles in it, you can see that effectively it is just many smaller parts of one bigger candle. So anytime you see a little trend with smaller candles, that's exactly what it is. So like we can go, when we're trying to identify how this bar came to be on the 1 minute chart for Intel, for instance, we looked at the 5-second chart and we noticed a split that was exactly a measured move on the 5-second chart right through that liquidity zone, right? So effectively, drawing a box becomes the simplest way to do it. So you can literally just find your price action from base to accumulation, and you can take and draw a box, and then you can drag it up on top of that accumulation. Well, look, there's a 1-for-1 measured move. And then you can drag it up again. Hey, 2-for-1 right there. So essentially this was the measure move, and outcome of twice that move came out of it. So you get a 2-for-1 ratio. Drawing those boxes just makes it much easier to find those. And if you just keep in mind that anytime you're seeing price action on any time frame, all you really have to know is the market can do one of three things. It can go up, it can go down, or it can go sideways. And as long as you have a trend, you can mark that trend by just finding the measured moves and trade the measured moves. If you have a sideways market, you can trade that too. You can take a sideways market that's ranging. You can find your 1-for-1s up, 1-for-1s down within that range pretty much all day long. Hell, I do it on a 5-second chart whenever I see a range day. I love them because I can trade them pretty accurately on a 5-second chart, just scalping around.
Alright, here's the top of supply.
Trend
Sorry,
days,
if we break this.
same thing. It's just tilt your chart as if it was going sideways. It's the same thing. It's just range. Range in a trend is range as well. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just saying that we're at the top of supply now. If we break it, then we're gonna look to use this supply as demand. It's gonna hold.
Yeah. And I wanted to give another quick rundown of the fan system here. So I've gone to 2 different charts
Yeah, there
here.
we go. See, that's why we have stops. Stopped out. Saved me from this pump in the opposite direction. Very good.
So I went and drew the 5-second chart fan and just added all the extensions and splits on it with Tesla over here. That's kind of my I guess you can call this was the first way I started drawing the J fans. And then over here on SPY, I went ahead and just started removing the old ones and adding new ones. Every time I see accumulation, I can plot those lines by just finding all the basic trend lines within that accumulation. And that's what the fan really is. It's just finding trend lines. So when you spot a divergence in 2 trend lines and you split the middle of it, it gives you a very easy way to pick up those measured moves before they happen. So you can figure out where the regression between lower half and upper half is going to be, and you can pick off measured moves that are 1-for-1 very easily with that. If you add deviations, you can go and say, okay, well, if it breaks the angular resistance here and it gets outside the channel, pretty easy to just add a line. Where it comes from and where it goes to is going to be a little interesting because they don't always cross in the same place. But you can add a deviation anyway and figure out, okay, well, if it makes a 2-for-1, I can use my eyeball and sight distance from here to here and just kind of plot up here where it's going to be. So if it breaks that line, where's it going to go? Where's my trade? I want to know where my measured move is because measured moves are easy. You can spot them anywhere. You get a short-term trend and accumulation, and when it breaks, it's likely to hit here. If it fails, it's likely to hit here. Pretty simple. You can find a quick scalp, and that's where you can get those 2 and 3 pointers all day long on the futures when you spot these things. Same with Tesla. I can plot exactly when I take my trade.
That's crazy. Look at this bull move. That's crazy. See, that's why we got to trade the higher time frames, guys, or
Yep.
lower. Not dissing it. I'm just saying, like, if you were looking at the 1 hour and saw this basing, and you were like, "Oh, okay, after a basing and a big wick to the bottom like that, I could only go long for these next 2 hours."
You know
Would've
me.
saved your butt.
I like to trade all of it. I can go and like, and this is going to be interesting because I'm working on a project to where it's going to compare styles. I can't give details on it because it's kind of the thing I've been talking to Jamie about, but something coming up where we're going to do some very comparative trading, and it's going to be interesting to see the outcome. And
That's cool.
I can go and pick off a 5-second chart and get every little move of something like this in that entire trend, or I can swing trade it and just capture it in lump sums. It's all going to depend on what you want to do with it. It's going to depend on how you trade it.
Right.
So effectively, when you do comparative stuff, it's not a pissing match, and it shouldn't be. But the idea is that you're going to be able to increase your skills in both areas. So if you want to be a scalper one day, you can go and scalp futures with a 5-second chart pretty readily. If you want to be a swing trader the next day, you can go and swing trade with either direct equity, or you can go and swing trade options positions, or whatever you want to do. I've been swing trading these measured moves on Tesla with the same debit spread that I've just been rolling in and out of butterfly conversions with. So I've been like selling credit spreads against the existing long position and then pulling them down when I can buy them back cheaper than I sold them.
Nice.
So far, I've taken a position that has naturally only created about 100% return with the debit spread that I have, and I've captured just a hair under. I've got 480% in the bank now from swing trading the short spread against it. So it's kind of neat to be able to do that. You can compound your trade with another. So I'm swing trading the long position, and then I'm day trading the short position. It's kind of cool. I want it all. So when you start to get very skilled at trading pretty much any time frame, that's where your benefit's going to be. You can literally run trade conversions and swaps and kill it.
Yep. What a pump.
I'm
That's
going to
crazy.
spend this weekend reviewing all these options and variations, and then I'm going to try and understand that trade that Jeremy's doing.
It's a freaking riot. And when you have a trend and you have pretty good price action to trade it on and good volatility, also expensive premium on Tesla. So this is ideal for that kind of thing. And it's complex sounding on the outside, but when you learn to do it, it's like riding a bike. It's just simple. And
What's your level on SPY right now?
so I'm looking at a 420 break, and it's about to hit it. Trend day was targeted there. Let me go to
That's your target, 420?
420. So effectively,
Yes, sir.
I found that by making a split in the bull channel that we had from the diamond pattern a while back. And here's our diamond back here. So we drew the upper channel, we opened at the regression line, and then there's a split, and it's a weird angle here, but there's a split line right here. It's about halfway to the angular resistance of the upper end of that channel.
Okay, thanks.
So it's like taking the J-fans to the diamond pattern.
Bro, I've been keeping like the 2 extra monitors on top. I got the 4 monitors now. I've been keeping the 2 on top empty for some reason.
It takes a minute to get used to it.
I'm like switching back and forth on equities on this main screen.
It's like,
I was like, wait, why don't I just drag it up onto this empty screen in front of me and I could always have it there?
yep.
You're
you
running
can-
4 monitors now?
Yeah, it's clean. I'll send a screenshot.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
I have
Bro,
3
telling me.
monitors.
Oh, that's cool. I used
I
to do.
run 4 monitors too, and I use them though.
That's cool.
It definitely makes everything easier.
Oh yeah. I've got to upgrade my graphics card and my power supply before I do that, but it's on my list.
Wait, I sent it in the wrong chat. Let's see, you guys.
Actually, my laptop can run. I run 4 monitors off my laptop too, just
What?
by adding a box, a USB-C box to it.
And it runs okay?
Nice.
Must
can-
be a steady laptop.
You can
Must
run
be a very
monitors.
good laptop.
You can run monitors on USB too. I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's a really good high-end laptop. So.
That's cool. Alright, I got 1 empty monitor. Now I got 2 for charts, 1 for YouTube, 1 for half YouTube, half Discord, and then 1 empty one.
There you go.
That'll be for editing.
Yeah, I thought 3 was enough when I first set this up. I'm like, I could do 3. And now I'm like, I need 4.
I wish I could share every screen.
I just got a really good deal on these 32-inch curved AOC monitors.
Nice.
They were only $200.
Sweet.
That's cool.
I've got my LG flat 32-inch for it was like 120 on sale.
Lucian had these little monitors in the stand. When he came to New York, he brought them. I was like, hell
Nice.
yeah.
Yoink. Yeah,
Yeah, right?
Lucian has a computer he was running. I want to say he was running like up to 12 monitors at some point.
No.
And it was just like
12?
the poor USB hub was just like running. I mean, I probably would
That's
assume
crazy.
there was smoke
Trying to
coming
get
off
to
of
the
it.
moon.
Yeah.
NASA doesn't even have a computer that could do that.
They sent me a picture of
that's
it one time, and I'm
crazy.
just like, damn. I'm like, I know you can run them off USB, and they say the frame rate and the graphics suffer a tiny bit, but it's still doable for what we're doing. I guess I could just plug into a USB.
The new USB-C protocol is really fast. I can run HDMI and off of it, and as well as the new display ports out of it, and it
Wow.
handles it pretty well.
Very good to know.
Nice.
All right, so we pause at 419.40. That's an odd place. What's going on here? Well, just a fan line. Also, if you look at my Tesla chart here, there's an angular resistance here that I'm very keen on. This is the angular resistance from that big ass channel that I have on the weekly chart. Look at this thing. Way up here. So we're looking at, I started that line back here on, I think it was January 22. It can go back further all the way here to, back in November of 2021, but not necessary. Running it down, though, that's a very keen interest point, because if we break this with some force and it becomes really bullish beyond that line, we're looking for a 50% retracement on the monthly or weekly chart. That's all the way up here at like $300, dude. So I've definitely got a bit of a bullish bias on Tesla, especially if it can break that angular resistance. So I'm very, very much watching that line. And there's a key pivot here right there at the 192 as well. That's kind of interesting. So we'll see what we get. The weird thing is when you come down in time frames, you'll look and see that the angular resistance kind of skews a bit, but it's still relevant. So here's a 2-hour chart. We hit it the other day. We're back at it again today. So I want to see where we go with that.
Oh, yo, check this out. This is cool. I was looking at the 8-hour chart. We got a rising wedge on NASDAQ.
Nice.
And we're sort of lining up with it inside supply, so maybe we see pullback?
I keep
I
forgetting.
don't know. Again, can't fight the trend.
I keep forgetting to put my Teslas or put my charts on the YouTube when I start talking about stuff.
Oh.
Second time I
No,
did.
you were doing good before. I saw before you were switching back and forth was really good.
So let me go back over that real quick. Just real quick. Weekly angular resistance right there. We're at it. Daily, we're kind of almost at it, but then you look at the 2-hour and it's skewed right to it. And we've hit it before, and we're about to hit the 192 outside of that. So this is interesting. Tesla could become very bullish here. There was
I think
something.
it's already bullish now.
There was
Wait,
some.
what's Tesla doing?
There was something about FDA approval of the Neuralinks he's been working on. So I don't know where that's going. Maybe that's why we're getting a lot of pump. But I don't think that does.
Oh,
Is that under Tesla?
Yo,
with
Who's
the
getting one?
Neuralinks?
Who's
Yo.
gonna get a Neuralink?
I am.
I probably already have one. Maybe that's why I can trade a 5-second chart. I remember Stone used to call me Skynet.
That's funny.
I'm not human.
Skynet, Jeremy.
That should be my new moniker.
Yo, check this out. Tesla made a daily demand zone right where he made a daily supply zone previously. So that's something. Gonna keep an eye on that. Maybe get continuation tomorrow for another bullish move on ES as well. It's good to use equities when trading supply demand ES and Q. Gives you more of a feel like if I used to do that even. I used to chart Apple, Microsoft, things like that.
Right.
I would do supply and demand on those, and I would wait for Apple to line up with demand with ES lining up with demand. And just like with VIX, Apple being heavy in, well, VIX isn't heavy in, heavy weighted in ES SPY, but I use it as confirmation. And you could use Apple supply demand as confirmation too. Like, hey, Apple's getting weak at supply. I know Apple's 7% of ES and like 12% of NQ. And then
Right.
same with Microsoft. If they're both rejecting supply and you got a key level on ES or NQ, or even another supply demand on it too, like those are all just zones adding up. That's liquidity adding up. That's more confirmation for you to take that trade.
Yep, you can literally correlate those things. You
Yep.
can go and I think you can do that with TradingView. You can compare more than two. So like you can add
Or you
line
could do it
charts
with
from
with
everything
oh right. You
and
can do that with
stack them.
the Thinkorswim too.
Yeah, and you can like stack them up over each other and kind of get a good idea of like convergence, divergence between them, and then figure out when they're ready to roll. I know someone who does the same thing with the SPDR. It's like he'll go and watch all the sectors in SPY because it's if you look at
Yeah,
if you look
that's
at
so.
the ETF itself, it's like a series of SPDRs, and it's like one in every sector. He would really just watch line charts on all of those overlaid, so he'd know when all the sectors were rotating at the same time, SPY was going to make a big move, and it was like literally almost a half a second behind what would happen on SPY. It was very close. So you can make little scalps on that. I'm like, well, I could kind of do something similar with just watching that 5-second chart on SPY. I can just do it, So it's
Yeah.
whatever tickles your pickle, I guess. If it's something
Oh
that works
my
for you,
God.
go for it.
All right, Jeremy, we're gonna have a class on sayings.
Yeah. If it tickles your fancy, I guess you could say.
All right, that's better.
HR will be contacting you.
You're
Sorry,
gonna
we
get banned on YouTube.
I'm
we
getting
use
banned on you.
tickets you pick all the time in the UK.
Yeah, common phraseology, man.
Exactly. Thank you.
No, it's fine. I was busting his chops. I was busting his balls. There we
I'm
go. Now
busting-
you got the pickle
I'm
and the
busting your
balls in there.
chops, Kevin.
There's a saying over there that I go by: keep a stiff upper lip. Don't let anything just get under your skin.
Oh, there you go.
I know. Don't worry, guys.
Have thick skin, or what was one I read yesterday? It was like,
Have a tough pickle.
the ocean doesn't sink ships. It only sinks ships when it's allowed to get in. So don't let the water that you're
good.
sitting in flood your decks.
I like that.
I'm not taking any offense. I'm just busting.
Oh yeah, buzz my chops all you want. I love it. I have
I love it.
I have probably some of the thickest skin of Generation X ever. If you can call me something, I've probably been called much, much worse many times over. And as
Oh, you
some
know what's a
people would say,
mean one?
I've been called
Wait.
worse by better people. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just use the first half of that because I don't want to offend anybody.
Because the second half is the meanest thing you could imagine.
True, very true.
All right, guys, I'm done here. I got my profits. I'm out for the day.
Hey, good
Right
job,
on,
bro.
man.
Good job.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
This is-
same guys. I've made my boring $50.
Me too.
But,
50, no more 30?
no, well, 50 is the target today because it was easy.
It was,
Okay.
It's definitely easy. Today's trend day. Oh man.
Yeah. Oh,
It was-
yeah.
I think if you can catch a trendy, isn't it? That's where you're best off starting out as a beginner with real money.
Oh,
Just
yes.
make sure the trend is going in the
Is
right
the trend.
direction.
I know
And then
people
you-
who won't touch anything but a trend day,
Take care,
Yeah.
Ricardo.
and it's smart because
Yeah, see you, Ricardo. Bye.
Yes, have a good weekend, guys. All the best.
you
Have
too,
a good
man.
weekend, bro. Take care.
And remember, we're not opening the market on Monday. We're gonna close it.
I was
Yeah, we're keeping it closed.
Yeah.
going to say we've got a bank holiday on Monday. You guys have as well, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Our holiday was last
3-day
Monday.
weekend.
Yep.
Woo, woo.
We
I
got.
haven't been excited for a weekend in like years.
I know. I got a
But
fun-filled
yeah.
weekend packed. We're doing,
Yeah, but you guys aren't open on Monday, are you?
Yeah,
No.
we're gonna sleep
but
in
it-
on Monday.
I mean, if you guys chart and got questions and stuff, honestly, you just add us or whatever. I mean, I'll be here. I'm
Yeah.
always around. You guys got questions whenever.
I'll be
Okay.
walking around, but
Sounds
I'm happy to use my voice to text to respond while I'm out and about.
Oh, there you go. That's cool.
Makes it a lot easier. I hate typing on a phone screen. It just drives me bonkers. I suck at it. I can't use two thumbs to type. It just doesn't work for me. Voice to
What?
text. Voice to text is awesome. My best friend.
Very good. There's some zones, some ES levels. Oh, big rejection right there. We get news on that? Or
Maybe.
was that just a quick little
I think that's just a
swallow?
quick profit taking
Oh
move.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So I got like probably bail at 11 today because I got some stuff to do prep. Um, I started this last week, I think it was. I'm gonna be because I love LBS. I can stream in many places at the same time. And the folks over at Money.net have asked if I would do my own thing on Fridays instead of having Creed interview me and just kind of pick my brain.
Okay.
So what I've been doing is I've just been going and looking at like the top 10 stocks that are being looked at by mainstream media, and I will run through them and just do technical analysis on them. And I've been splitting that for the folks over at Money.net, and I can broadcast it to our YouTube channel direct at the same time. So I'm going to start
Oh, nice.
doing that every week here on Friday. I'll give a quick market review and sort of also go and look at all those equities that mainstream media is looking at.
What
And
time? When do you do that?
that'll
On
be at
Fridays?
noon. So I'll start that right at
Perfect.
12, and then I'll probably end it right about 12:40 or 12:50, depending on how much stuff I've got to digest.
Okay,
And then
that's awesome. Yeah, Lucian was telling me you had something you wanted to do on Fridays.
yeah, and then my future plan is to do that more frequently. So I want to do like a midweek review and a beginning week review. So like Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays around noon. I want to try and get into that habit of doing that. So Monday would be more of a recap of the previous week. Friday would be kind of like, okay, well, what's expected in the next week, and then Wednesday just being kind of well, what's happened and where are we expecting to go by the end of the week. So I mean, it kind of makes sense to do that.
Yeah.
I say we pull back to 41.96.
So like in a way, it gives me a way to bring some fish to the market, so to speak, or give some call outs where we can say, okay, this is what we see and this is what price action tells us. Just take a pure price action point of view for all the fundamental crap that mainstream tends to dive into. And I can go and read some paragraphs and be like, JP Morgan gave them an upgrade because blah 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 blah. That wastes my time. The chart tells me everything I need to know.
Yeah.
So
Agreed.
you're gonna be in Discord today at noon, Jeremy?
I can cast it to Discord as well.
Oh,
But
does it? Wait, you start that today? Sorry.
yeah, well, what I'm saying is like I had started this last week. I went and streamed to MoneyNet and our YouTube channel at the same time, but I can add Discord to it. The only thing is I would probably I wonder if I can shut off the audio from Discord because it's more of just a me going through a breakdown, so like I can't like answer questions on
Right.
it. I think that I can cast it to Discord as well as both the other channels. I can probably do that.
I remember 2 weeks ago you did in YouTube, but we could not hear the voice and you were
Yeah,
reviewing.
that
So
was
that's why I said it's gonna be in Discord because that's
right.
what personally I do prefer. But if not, I'll search YouTube and see until you started, Jeremy.
Yeah, that time when I did the broadcast and the audio was muted, I missed a setting and did that. So it was the button on my headset that mutes everything. So I did that whole thing not knowing that my mute button was pushed. I'm like, whoa, whoops. So
Oopsies.
this week I got that bug ironed out. I'll make sure that I have audio and I'll check audio before I start broadcasting.
Yeah, we're going higher. That's crazy.
This accumulation
Guess
spot
I'm
here is
actually
falling
better.
right into the 5-second fan like clockwork. Beautiful 1-for-1 down, support, back up to regression. I think we got a split happening right here. Let's see if it accumulates a couple bars and then gets into a continuation pattern. 1 minute chart's starting to look like one of those rounding tops that I always talk about where they're bearish until they're not. So we could pull back to about 419 for support test one more time, maybe even twice more before we get long. But if we watch the 5-second, we'll catch a very quick signal on that. And Intel is just climbing up to put pivots, man. I love this. Again,
All right,
let's
guys.
look left, find those control bars, man. They're relevant. Look, this is the 2-hour bar. We're right to it. That whole
Damn, that's
2-hour chart
strong.
looks like a double bottom too. Look at this. Bam. Nice break. I love Intel. It's a great price action stock to trade. It moves slow too, so it's easy. Also, it's not very expensive. I mean, $28 a share. If you wanted to just practice swing trading price action, this is a great one for that. Just buy a share or two and roll it.
So yesterday when I was having the technical difficulties, I guess it picked up Kodak Black.
Picked up what?
It picked up some music.
Oh yeah,
on,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
On like one of the 4-minute streams that I managed to get in. and
Yeah.
It kicked it back.
Yeah, I got a flag for copyright infringement. or
Tunnel
whatever.
vision.
Yeah. That's okay. We can just pull it.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, I've always got to be very careful. Like sometimes
We don't even have to pull it. It's it just said basically we can't make money off that one video, but it
Right.
wasn't like it was the whole 2-hour session. It
Yeah.
was when I was having the issue, so it was no problem.
Yeah, it's like no ad revenue for you.
Yeah.
I gotta be careful with that sometimes. Like during the summertime, my kids like to walk around with their Bluetooth speakers going. So like they'll come in from outside through the door with the thing still blasting. I'm like, oh music, no, stop.
Wait, I'm streaming.
Exactly. So I got this on-air sign that I can plug into a USB port and flip the switch and turn it on so they can say, oh, he's on the air. Shut it off at the door and come in.
Very good.
You're official now. You got an on air.
That's right.
Jeremy's famous.
Oh, we know that.
I'm working on it. I mean,
You're getting there. You're getting there. Name. What was it? Your name's being after by people in the positions of power up in New York, isn't it?
Wall
yeah.
Street people.
In fact, just as an experiment, because someone told me that they talked to John Bollinger on the floor down there, and they said that John Bollinger knows my name. He knows an article I wrote a while back about day trading with Bollinger Bands, and he liked it.
Nice.
So as an experiment yesterday, I wrote a little spiel about Bollinger Bands and tweeted it, and I tagged him in it, and he waved back. I'm like, oh, cool.
Oh, cool.
John Bollinger knows my
Yo,
name.
let's have him. Yo, let's get him on here, man. Why don't you get him on one of the,
Yes.
like a Monday, Wednesday or something? You
That-
and him do like a noon thing.
That would be awesome, and I'm gonna try and set
Dude.
that up actually.
Dude,
So-
you got it. That's like huge. How great would that be? We'd be able to announce to our Facebook, our Twitter, and everything.
Yes.
Be like, hey guys, we're having the John Bollinger of Bollinger Bands come onto our network. We're gonna sit down and interview him. All you, bro. That's awesome. That's great.
That would
That'd be
be
really, really great.
that would be amazing and probably one of my most humbling feats yet. So yeah, I'm on it.
Good. Go for it. Hell yeah. It's all you, man. You keep me posted on it though. You let me know. Would love for you to get that going.
Oh, will do. And it's just intriguing to know that there's some heavy hitters out there that know my name somehow. So
That's crazy. Do you know so that was recent that he did that wave back and stuff?
yeah, that was yesterday.
Oh, so even better. So slide into his DMs, be like, hey, I saw you saw my post. I appreciate you with the wave back. Then just be like, obviously, I'm with Bullish Bear. So, we're sort of like pushing that who I am and where I'm with.
Right.
And he'll say, yes, of course. Say, we would be, what's the word?
Be honored.
That's it. We would be honored to have you on our Discord for even, not in our Discord, to have you on our YouTube, in a podcast, however you want to word that part. But that'd be really cool.
Yeah, I grabbed a screenshot of it yesterday. I was so proud.
Oh, look at that. I refer to Mullen as a training man, and I salute you. Waving back. Ah, that's nice. That's so cool. Just scalp it, Jay. I gotta follow
Yeah, add
you,
me.
bro. Hell yeah.
I like just started a Twitter account this year, or no, last year, and I've never really been big into Twitter until I realized, hey, there's potential to make a lot of connections on Twitter. So obviously now I'm all about getting into it. But I wish I could tweet more often, but I've got a lot going on, so it's hard for me to.
Yeah. I was thinking of well, I guess it wouldn't really help your Twitter, but I guess the Bullish Bears. I was thinking of having Casper split up the pick to all BB social
Mhm.
and to keep that one there too in case we did want to do all of them, but to make a Facebook, an Instagram, and a Twitter one like all separate so we're not
Right.
just flooding our Instagram with charts or stuff. We're able to like separate it a bit.
Right. That would be kind of cool, and then we could do it per moderator too. So I mean, like we can go and say like, this is my picks for the week, this is your picks for the week, or anything we want to
Yeah,
point out. That'd be kind of cool too,
that would be.
because together we're strong. The ape strong together thing kind of holds up.
Strength in
But
numbers.
yeah, but then the other part of it is like be independent as well, like because everybody's going to have a different way to look at stuff, and if you kind of not necessarily cater to a particular audience, but like you appeal to them, with your style, it's easier to climb out of the noise when you stand out with your stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, here's that rolling top that we're looking at, and it's starting to look suspiciously bullish here. Let's see what we get. I'm going to split this line. I have been just recreating or removing and redrawing these fan lines on the 5-second chart for SPY so far today, but this time I'm just going to divide this particular one because I can see this pretty obvious. It's looking to go to the regression line. But we split the line so we know we can get confirmation. Because if it fails here, we know it can pull back and hit this line.
All right, so Jeremy, I'm expecting Mr. Bollinger to be here by tomorrow, okay?
I don't know about tomorrow, but
Oh wait, Saturday.
No,
Monday
Tuesday,
we're off.
because it's a bank
Tuesday.
holiday Monday.
Yeah.
yes. There you go.
We want him here by Tuesday. You've got the weekend to work, right?
Well, he's a busy dude. He trades a lot.
Oh
So,
yeah. So good. So hit him up on the weekend.
I think either a weekend or maybe just like a brief after the close type of thing. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, and listen, reach out to him, ask when it works for him, and schedule it around him, like you said. And it's something we'll record and put on YouTube, but something we will do live for everybody and announce to our community. So that's really cool. Do like we could do like a mass email about it too. Like that's pretty big, bro.
Yeah, I mean it's huge. I mean it's like
Yeah.
it's extremely humbling for me to be like, I consider myself kind of a nobody, and then I'm running in circles with some guys who are legends. That is
crazy.
really humbling to me, man. I mean, it's just
I bet. That's awesome.
just
Yo,
really
by
a
the
cool
way,
achievement.
Oh, where did Apple go? Oh yeah, that rally on Apple I called out earlier. If you answered, would have been a nice move.
And
Amazon too.
I think maybe with some of the price, I can get back into Bollinger Bands every now and then, but like I've been focusing purely on a lot of this stuff, and it just tends to make my chart a little noisy. But if it helps you, I mean what I say in that statement of Bollinger Bands being like training wheels to price action.
Yeah.
And effectively you got the left wheel and the right wheel here. So where's the center wheel? That's the 20 period. So effectively when you have a good insight of laying some other things in place, like an 8 period is very useful for finding your exact signals of when you're expected to go from one band to the other. Also, you can kind of look at the volatility itself. What they do is they get wider when volatility is increased or when there's price action increasing in one direction or another. And then they get narrower when things are compressing or price action is accumulating, so to speak. So it gives you a pretty good idea of when to expect a move, and watch these get closer and closer together, and then suddenly one will deviate, one will spread, and you get a quick signal on, is it likely to go up or likely to go down? and you'll see a bend one way or another. So here we have the upper band bending down a little bit. So this is at first a little bearish. The lower band bent down a little bit further. So you can see quick signals on the Bollinger Bands as well. This is a 5-second Bollinger Band. No one's doing that. Look at the 1 minute chart here. We have still accumulation. We're in a wedge here. So we don't have to panic and be like, oh, sell, my God, sell. No, that's just a very short-term signal. Like I said, it can be a little noisy when you're trying to trade a 5-second chart, but it can be calming when you go look at the 1 minute chart and be like, I can wait this out. This is pretty stable. It's, you know, condensing here. It's just, it's an accumulation. But when you see there's a pinch, this is where volatility is suddenly shut down, and then you got very short-term compression here, and all of a sudden price exploded. It started to trend. That's what that 8 period's for. So think of the middle Bollinger Band like a fence. You can either cross it or resist it, or walk away from it, turn around. So if you got a short-term trend heading towards that middle band, even though it stepped across it, it didn't reach the lower band, it was likely to be a rebound here. And then the 8 period kind of confirmed the signal here. So you can see the price got above the 8 period, started trending on top of the 8 period. And as long as it didn't blow out of the upper band with too much force, it stayed true in that trend. So they're very useful for kind of acting as training wheels, or even bowling alley bumpers in this case, because I mean, you're looking at price just kind of tends to bounce off those bands. Look at the widening volatility on Intel, though. That is intriguing. Plus lower bands beginning to curl up. We could actually trend higher from here. Let's compare a couple of time frames here. We're out of the band on the 15-minute with a big wick on the previous candle. So
I think we do hit that supply. I want us to hit the supply on ES.
we could pull back here on
But
Intel. There we go. Now we're getting our 1-for-1. See, widening bands. We got increasing volatility after accumulation. We just went right to resistance here on our accumulation for the 1 minute chart. And
oh shit.
pulling
Yo.
back.
Alright, my bad. I'm gonna get going. I gotta get going. I completely forgot I had a call at 11.
Yeah, no worries.
Alright,
I'm gonna probably bail in a minute myself because I gotta get prepped for my 12 o'clock thing, and then I've got a meeting with Jamie Rogozinski at 1 today. So
let me know how that goes.
Yeah.
Keep me posted with your meetings with him from now on, please.
oh, definitely, man.
Awesome. Awesome. Alright, take care,
See you
everybody.
guys
Have a
later.
great weekend.
You, Kevin. Take care. Have a great weekend.
See you, Kevin. I'll give a quick wrap up before I go, but let me make sure I got the right screen up on YouTube. There we go. Okay. So back to a quick little bit about the Bollinger Bands as well. Can you trade them on a 5-second chart? Yes and no. You need more information. And on a 5-second chart, for my personal taste, it creates a little too much noise to trade. You'd rather have cleaner price action. I can leave the 8 period because I love the 8 period. I like to use that as a very, very fast signal for when I can take exact entries and exits. And I love the 20 period, which happens to be what the middle Bollinger Band is based on. It's just a simple 20 period moving average. The standard is anyway. You can adjust those. You can adjust the deviations and the standard on that. You can change the Bollinger Bands to be whatever you want. Like you can go into the settings and edit them. And let's say we want the center band to be an 8 period. Out of curiosity, let's see what happens. Well, now our middle band's an 8 period. Check it out. All of a sudden it kind of cleans up a lot of the noise. I still have a 20 period here. That just gives me a trend. But the 8 period gives me a much quicker signal for the Bollinger Band. So if I want to scalp on a 5-second chart with Bollinger Bands, though, now all of a sudden your deviations are too choppy. So you can still see where that 8 period is. You can still utilize it. But in a sense, you're going to be like a dog seeing a squirrel run by him. You're going to be like, squirrel, squirrel, every time you see it chop. over time you could get used to it, but at the same time it's a lot to look at. There's a lot of information to take in visually, and it's going to be noisy to see that chart. But on the 1 and 5, you can actually make it kind of magical. See, there's your 8 period. Pretty easy to see where the strength is in that trend and where the weakness signal is, and that's this wick right here. This was the expected accumulation zone, and now we're pinching down really tight 8 periods here. If price breaks this on the 5-minute chart, we're looking at a pullback. Go to the 1-minute chart. Bit noisy, but we can still see there's our wedge, and we're just under the angular support on the divergence. If price can get back above the 8 period, we can break and continue running on as if this was accumulation for a trend in a measured move. We can break 420 and even hit 421 in that sense. But if it fails here, we can go and expect a pullback. Well, where's that pullback? About half of this trend from here to here is one target, 418. And I remember talking about 418 being a target in the pre-market when we're looking at the potential for a trend day today. So 418 is going to be a key zone. So you can use the Bollinger Bands to give you a very very accurate buy and sell signal in most cases, but you kind of have to mess with it and make it work for you. And either A, you can leave the standard settings alone and go and trade your signals based on a moving average, or you can tweak the signal itself. What happened? There it is. Okay. So the fact that you can change the moving average to anything you want means you can adapt Bollinger Bands to any time frame in respect to the tolerance of noise. So like adding that as a 20 period on the 5-second chart made it a lot easier to read your signals on the 5-second chart, but it may have kind of condensed the signal read on the 1-minute chart just a bit too much. All right, there's your breakdown. We're looking for retracement. Couple things to know when you see these rounding tops like this is that there are key support areas within this, and there's 3 of them. I'm going to take the Bollinger Bands off so I can mark them real quick. So you're always going to look at your previous lows for support in any pattern. And just to kind of draw them out, you can stripe them pretty much every control area of the previous lows. And basically you're setting up zones to cross. So if you're confirming a bear trend here or a bearish pullback, you're looking for those control zones, and they can be short-term targets. So if you plot them out on your 1-minute chart and then trade them on your 5-second chart, it just gives you a quick way to confirm whether I'm going to stay in this bearish measured move or not based on where the key support is from previous control bars. So that's why we're talking about looking left and finding your control areas on any time frame that you're trading is very important, because if you're going to scalp something, you want to know where the key support areas are or key resistance areas are if it's the reverse and you're trading bullish. So here it hit a key pivot, printed a wick out of it, and then blam, as soon as that candle turned green, that was a, if I'm short here, I'm taking my profit now. So whatever duration time frame you're trading is going to be relevant to looking for those control areas and knowing if this then that. So this becomes a quick pivot. Broke support here, go short. Broke support here, stay short. Didn't break support here, get ready to take profit. candle flash green. Take profit now. All right, well, I'm going to delete some of the noise off my chart, and I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. Been a great day, though. We've got a lot out and explained today, and I wanted to kind of also reiterate that we really do appreciate all the questions you guys ask. That is what makes us able to teach more. Not to mention, over time, those questions, forcing me to go through a process to answer them, helps me as well. It does help me become a better trader, as well as get the information out to everybody else so they can become better traders. So don't ever hesitate to ask questions, and realize that even if you ask them in the forum where everybody else can see it, there is no dumb question. Don't feel intimidated like, oh man, people are going to think I'm an idiot for asking this. Don't think that way. Think of it as, I am not the only one thinking of this question, and there are probably many other people who want to ask this question, but they might not have the courage to ask it. So someone's got to break the ice. So always feel free. I mean, you can DM me if you'd rather keep it private. That's fine. In fact, a member did that this morning. Totally cool, but it's better if you have the courage. Put it out there for everyone to see, because that question is not just being asked by you. There are many levels of traders in this group, starting from bare bones, just opened up their first trading account ever, to been trading for 20 years. There's every kind of breed in here, and there's going to be no dumb questions, because every one of those traders, whether they've been trading for 20 years or not, started somewhere. And that respect is not given, it's earned, because every one of those traders know that they started somewhere. So when you are brand new and you've got lots of questions, ask away. You're not going to embarrass yourself, and no one's going to think any less of you for asking a question. All right, guys, with that, I'm leaving. I will see you guys on Tuesday. Have a wonderful weekend. Try to stay safe. Be careful with the levels of drinking or getting into trouble and debauchery. That's just kind of celebrating in a nutshell. Always moderate your own celebrations.
Quick question, Jeremy.
Sure.
So in noontime 12, go to YouTube under Bullish Bear.
Yeah, I'll be there on YouTube, and like I said, I can put it in the Discord as well. I can just turn my microphone on. I may end up having the system audio muted, so I won't be picking up questions on that.
No, I can go to YouTube as long as I know that search under Polish Bear, and you're gonna be there.
Yep, I'll be there.
Good luck, Jeremy. Thank you for everything.
You too. Thanks again, man.
Thank you.
We'll speak soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Anytime, guys. I will see you all on Tuesday, and again, I'll be here at noon, about an hour. Well, less than an hour now, as I keep chattering. All right, see you guys. Have a great one.